Hey everyone, welcome back to Ancient Secrets. Tonight, we're diving deep into one of the greatest mysteries in human history. Who were the very first Native Americans? For over a century, scientists believed that they knew the answer. The story was simple. Thousands of years ago, during the last ice age, small bands of hunter-gatherers crossed a land bridge from Siberia into North America. They became the ancestors of today's indigenous peoples. But now, ancient DNA is rewriting everything we thought we knew. Recent discoveries from caves, frozen tundras, and even underwater sites have revealed shocking truths hidden in the genetic code of people who lived thousands of years ago. So, grab a blanket, dim the lights, and let's embark on this incredible journey through time. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share where you're watching from in the comments below. For decades, the dominant theory about the first Americans was straightforward and seemingly unshakable. According to archaeologists and anthropologists, the earliest humans to set foot on the American continent came from Siberia about 13,000 to 15,000 years ago. These Ice Age travelers crossed a massive land bridge called Beringia, which once connected Asia and North America when sea levels were far lower than they are today. Once in Alaska, they spread southward through a corridor between melting glaciers, hunting mammoths, bison, and other megafauna. The evidence for this theory seems strong. Stone spear points, known as Clovis points, were found across North America and dated to this period. For most of the 20th century, the Clovis first model reigned supreme. Generations of textbooks taught this as fact. It was simple, elegant, and seemed to make sense. But deep beneath the surface, literally buried in ancient bones and sediments, a very different story was waiting to be told, one written not in artifacts, but in the hidden code of DNA. It began with a single tooth. In a remote cave in Mexico, archaeologists carefully excavated the remains of a young woman who had died more than 10,000 years ago. At first glance, her bones seemed unremarkable, but when geneticists managed to extract ancient DNA from her tooth, they were stunned by what they found. Her genetic signature didn't match what the Clovis theory predicted. Instead, it revealed a surprising connection to populations much farther south and west, possibly even from regions near Southeast Asia and the Pacific. This was the first crack in the old narrative, and it wouldn't be the last. Around the same time, another breakthrough came from the frozen ground of Alaska. Researchers uncovered the remains of two infant girls at a site known as Upward Sun River, dating back over 11,000 years. Their DNA was unlike anything seen before. It didn't fit neatly into the story of a single migration from Siberia. Instead, it hinted at a ghost population, a group of ancient humans whose descendants had either vanished or mixed so completely that they left almost no trace in today's peoples. As more samples were analyzed, patterns began to emerge. Across the Americas, from Patagonia in the south to Canada in the north, the genetic data painted a picture of multiple waves of migration, not just one. Some of these migrations happened earlier than anyone expected, possibly as far back as 20,000 to 25,000 years ago. The most dramatic discovery came from an underwater cave in the Yucatan Peninsula known as Hoyo Negro, or Black Hole. Divers exploring its depths found the skeleton of a teenage girl scientists later named Naya. She lived over 12,000 years ago, and her DNA provided a direct link between the ancient past and modern Native American groups. But there was a twist. While her DNA confirmed ties to modern indigenous peoples, her skull shape was strikingly different. It resembled those of ancient populations in places like Southeast Asia and Polynesia rather than northern Siberia. This suggested that the peopling of the Americas was far more complex than a single migration route. These findings led researchers to reconsider the role of Beringia. Rather than a simple land bridge crossing, they now envision a vast region of tundra and coastline where ancient peoples lived for thousands of years, isolated by ice sheets and rising seas. Some groups may have traveled by boat along the Pacific coast, hugging the shoreline and settling in new lands long before the glaciers melted enough to open an inland route. The technology behind these discoveries is as fascinating as the findings themselves. Ancient DNA is incredibly fragile. It can be destroyed by heat, moisture, and even the simple passage of time. Extracting it requires extreme precision. In clean labs, scientists wear full-body suits to prevent contamination, carefully grinding tiny fragments of bone or tooth into powder. From this powder, they isolate genetic material that has been preserved for millennia. Once sequenced, the DNA is compared to thousands of modern and ancient samples. The process is like assembling a massive three-dimensional puzzle. Piece by piece, patterns emerge that reveal where populations came from, when they moved, and how they interacted with one another. The more data scientists gather, the more complex the picture becomes. Instead of a single straight line of migration, the story of the first Americans looks like a tangled web of journeys, interactions, and extinctions. Some groups thrived and left descendants who live today. Others disappeared entirely, leaving only faint traces in the DNA record. Perhaps the most astonishing revelation is that the Americas may have been settled much earlier than once believed. Sites like Monte Verde in Chile show human presence as far back as 18,500 years ago, and some researchers argue for dates even earlier. If true, this means people reached South America thousands of years before the supposed opening of the inland corridor through the ice. These early pioneers would have faced unimaginable challenges: vast glaciers, dangerous predators, and unfamiliar landscapes. Yet they adapted, survived, and spread across 2 continents, shaping the genetic and cultural heritage of countless generations to come. The discoveries from ancient DNA have not only rewritten timelines, but also challenged assumptions about human resilience and ingenuity. Every bone, every fragment of tooth, holds a story waiting to be told. And as technology advances, we are only beginning to unlock the full narrative of how humans came to inhabit the farthest reaches of the Earth. The implications of these discoveries go far beyond science. For indigenous communities across the Americas, the story of their origins is deeply personal and sacred. Oral traditions passed down through generations often speak of migrations, ancestral homelands, and ancient journeys. In many cases, these stories align remarkably well with what the DNA reveals. For example, some Native American legends describe their people as having come from the land where the sun rises, suggesting a migration from the west across the Pacific. Others speak of ancestors emerging from the earth itself, symbolizing a deep connection to the land. At archaeological sites, the material culture supports these connections. In coastal Peru, ancient fishing villages show evidence of seafaring and marine adaptation dating back thousands of years. In the Arctic, intricate tools made of bone and ivory reveal how early peoples thrived in extreme environments. Artifacts like these provide context to the genetic data. They show how people lived, what they valued, and how they interacted with their surroundings. A spear point found in Alaska, a pottery shard in Mexico, a ceremonial carving in Chile, all are pieces of the same puzzle. Modern descendants of these ancient populations often participate in the research. Many communities work closely with scientists to ensure that studies are conducted respectfully and that the results honor their heritage. This collaboration has led to powerful moments of reconciliation and understanding. For instance, when the DNA of Naya from Hoyo Negro was sequenced, it confirmed what local indigenous groups had long believed, that their ancestors had been in the region for thousands upon thousands of years. This scientific validation strengthened cultural pride and reaffirmed ancient traditions. These discoveries also reshape global history. They highlight the incredible adaptability of humans. Imagine small bands of people navigating icy coastlines, crossing vast oceans, and carving out new lives in strange lands. Their journeys were acts of courage and survival that rival the greatest adventures in human history. As we connect the dots between ancient DNA and archaeology, a grand narrative emerges. It's a story not just of migration, but of innovation, cooperation, and resilience. It reminds us that we are all connected, our histories intertwined through countless generations. For centuries, the question of who the first Americans were seemed settled. A single migration from Siberia across Beringia, that was the story everyone knew. But ancient DNA has shown us that the truth is far richer and far more complex. Multiple waves of migration, some by land and others by sea, shaped the genetic landscape of the Americas. Some groups vanished, leaving only traces in our DNA. Others thrived, creating diverse cultures that would evolve into the indigenous nations we know today. This journey through time reminds us that history is never static. Every new discovery has the power to challenge what we think we know and reveal unexpected connections between the past and the present. As technology advances, who knows what other secrets lie hidden in the bones beneath our feet, waiting to be uncovered. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient DNA and the origins of the first Americans, please like this video, subscribe to Discovery Origins, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us where you're watching from. We love hearing your stories. Together, let's keep uncovering the mysteries of our shared human past.